Hello students, how are you all? Once again I am in front of you welcoming to my channel Sunil Purwar. Today I am going to discuss some very selected problems from functions, okay, and few problems from logarithm. Now in functions generally students feel difficulty in asserting whether a given function is one many one onto into there. So related to this concept I have brought some tricky questions, okay, which I anticipate to benefit you in your mains exam and in general as well. And few questions I will discuss on logarithms also, covering some important models of mains exam there. All right. Now, see this question. You have to find the value of x here under this condition. So what you do, you take logarithm on both sides. The two numbers dominating the question are 5 and 7. So you take logarithm on both sides to the base 5 or base 7. Okay. So I am taking logarithm at base 5 on both sides. So this implies logarithm of this number 5 to the power log 7 base 5 further power 2x at base 5 is equal to, okay, so somewhat big quantity, is equal to, take log of RHS. So you will have log of 7 to the power log 5 base 7, okay, power x. Now using the logarithm property, you can write this as this whole thing is in the power of 5. So this will come out, okay. So you will have log of 7 to the base 5 whole power 2x, okay. Log of x to the power m is equal to what? M times log x. So that property I am using. 5 to the power this whole thing. So this whole power comes out and you have log of 5 to the base 5, which is 1, is equal to, let's see the situation here, 7 to the power this thing, okay. So this power will fly out and you will have log of 5 to the base 7 power x, whole power x, and we have taken log at base 5 on both sides, okay. So after this what is left? Log of 7 to the base 5. Now here you need to recall one important property of logarithms, that log of b base a is nothing but 1 upon log of a base b, interchanging these two numbers. So when you interchange the these two numbers, logarithm gets reciprocated, okay. So this is one. Now, so this is log of 7 base 5 power 2x, and the same quantity is here with power 1, okay. So if you transfer this quantity on LHS, okay, so this is power 2x, so this will go here in the division and make this power as what? 2x minus 1, okay. This power is 1, that will become minus 1 on other side, is equal to, now look at this, log of 5 base 7 can be written, use this property, okay. So using this property, log of 5 base 7 can be written as what? 1 upon log of 7 to the base 5. Log of 1 upon log 7 to the base 5. Power is x only. Okay. Now, this quantity we can further rewrite as log of 7 to the base 5, 1 upon this. 1 upon this you can write as what? This number power minus 1. And further whole power is what? X. So that becomes nothing but, okay. So you see what's the situation here? Log of 7 base 5 whole power 2x minus 1, this term copied, 2x minus 1 is equal to, now taking this quantity over here, log of 7 to the base 5 whole power, these power gets multiplied, these two powers get multiplied to give you minus x. Now, on comparing the exponents, you see they have got the same base. So just compare the exponent. What you see? 2x minus 1 is equal to minus x. So what is the x value? 1 by 3. That's your answer. See this question. Again a very good question to further, boost up the understanding of logarithms as far as problem solving is considered. So log of 12 to the base 3. और देखो यहाँ पे क्या लगाया है? So this you can write as log of 12, 1 second. That is log of 12 to the base 3. We can say multiplied with, divided by log 3 base 36. So that divided by this number means what? Multiplied with 1 by log of 3 base 36. And using the log property, okay, 1 by log can be written as what? Interchange the numbers. That property, okay, 1 upon log can be written as log obtained on interchanging the numbers. So this is log 12 base 3, that will remain as it is, okay, and this will become what? Log of, interchange the number, 36 to the base 3, okay, 3 will come to the base and 36 will come to this place. So log of 36 to the base 3, log of 36 to the base 3, minus, give a similar treatment to this term also. So it becomes log of 4 base 3 into log of 108 base 3, alright, log of 108 to the base 3. Now you see all the logarithms are at base 3, okay. Now we will give a treatment to all the logarithms the way I am illustrating here, okay. So log of 12 base 3, okay, simplify this using the logarithm properties, okay, log of 12 base 3. So one by one we will simplify all these brackets, okay, as I am going to show you. Log of 12 base 3 here, 12 you can write as 3 into 4, alright. Now you are aware of this property, log of mn, m into n is what? Log of m plus log of n, alright. So using that property, this is your m and this is your n, you can write this as what? Log of 3 plus log of 2 square, log of 2 square. Log 3 to the base 3, 1, alright. And this exponent 2, will fly out using this property, log of x power m at base a equal to m times log of x, m times log of x base a, alright, keeping the same base. Now, so you see this had become 1 and this will become what? 2 times log of 2 base 3. Now log of 2 base 3 I am denoting as t. Let log of 2 base 3 as t, okay, to save time. So this quantity log of 12 base 3 became what? 1 plus 2t. So in place of it you put 1 plus 2t. In a similar way, let's simplify other log values. Log 36 to the base 3. 36 means 4 into 9, alright. And once again these exponents, they will come out using the log property, this property. Log of x power m is equal to m times log of x. So if we simplify, that will become what? 2 times of log 2 base 3, and this will become 2 times of log 3 base 3. And don't forget, log of a number to the same base is 1, okay. So this last value became 2, and this is what? 2 times, and I am denoting this as what? T. Log of 2 base 3 was denoted as t. So this became 2t, and this became what? 2. So 2t plus 2. Minus this log value into this log value. So in a similar way, log of 4 base 3 we can write as 4 means 2 square, so that will become again 2 times of log 2 base 3, which is 2t. Next, this is log of 108 to the base 3. 108 means what? 27 into 4, alright. So this will become log of 2 square plus log of 3 cube, and once again this exponents, they will fly out, okay, and you will get what? 2 times log 2 base 3 and 3 times log 3 base 3, and you know this is t, so this became what, 2t, that became 2t, and this is nothing but log of 3 base 3 is 1, so plus 3, so 2t plus 3. So this last value is what, 2t plus 3, and this log value has come out to be 2t. Now simplify this. So this log value, then this log value minus product of these two log values which I have written here. So on simplifying you will get 4t square plus 6t plus 2, and on multiplying this you will get 4t square plus 6t, 4t square plus 6t, which will cancel, and what is left there, equal to only one term with the numerical value 2. That's your answer. Alright, so this log value, you were not knowing what is this number, you didn't know any of the log values individually, but still you get the final value of this expression, which is what, 2. That's your answer. Again, this question is a very good question for mains. Similar models have been asked previously as well. Okay. Now, the concept that you need to keep in mind is, if alpha power beta equal to 1. So whenever alpha power beta is equal to 1, you have to analyze three possibilities. Okay. What are they? Number 1, alpha equal to 1, or number 2, beta equal to 0, or there is a third possibility as well. Okay, which is alpha equal to -1 and beta is an even integer, and beta is an even integer. So if alpha equal to 1, LHS will become 1. If beta is 0, alpha power 0 will give you 1 there. Or third possibility, this base value is -1 and this is an even integer. Okay, so -1 power even integer will give you what? +1 only. So these are the three possibilities you should analyze for alpha power beta equal to 1. Now, this possibility, this case is not possible in this question, because if you say this is your alpha and this is your beta, so alpha is what? Mod value. Alpha is, in place of alpha, what is there? A mod value, and mod value can never be negative. So as far as this question is considered, this third possibility is impossible. This third case is impossible there. Okay, so let's go with the first two cases. So in the first case, alpha equal to 1. In place of alpha, there is mod of x minus 3, which is 1. So x minus 3 value can be +1 or -1. So this means x is equal to 4 or 2. Keep it on hold. Remember, whenever you are solving the equations, all the values of the unknown that you get may not be the solution. Okay, so that's why I said keep these values on hold. Analyze the second possibility, in which beta has to be 0. Beta means this exponent has to be 0. So put it there, x square minus 8x plus 15 upon x minus 2 equal to 0. So if you solve it, you get the roots as what? X is equal to 3 or 5. Now, the examiner will trap you by asking question in two ways. Either the examiner will ask you the sum of all the solutions of this equation, okay, or examiner will ask you the number of solutions of this equation. So when that is the case, number of solutions, the first option will be what? 4. You are seeing 4 x values, 1, 2, 3, 4. And as far as the sum of all the solution is considered, you will see 4, 2, 6, 9, 14. Okay, that will be the first option. And they both are going to be the wrong, okay, answers for the corresponding questions there. What is the catch? Try to understand. First of all, if you take x is equal to 2, this denominator will become 0. So all those basic things you never ignore, that, so like if there is a square root, quantity inside can never be negative. If you are finding log of a number, it has to be always positive. Further, base has to be positive. If you are talking about log of x base a, x must be positive, a must be positive, and a must not be equal to 1. So all such basic things should always be there in your mind when you are solving the equations there. Okay, and the most basic being the denominator can never be 0. Okay, denominator can never be 0. And another basic point being any number which brings 0 to the power 0 form can also not be solution. So let's see. If you take x is equal to 2, this denominator becomes 0, so it can't be the solution, rejected. If you take x is equal to 4, there are no issues. Okay, if you put x is equal to 4, this number will become 1, and 1 to the power, there are no issues with this number. Okay, so 4 is selected. If you take x is equal to 3, here you get another trap. So if you take x is equal to 3, this base value becomes 0, and for x is equal to 3, this exponent value is also 0. So x is equal to 3 is giving you 0 to the power 0 form, and any number which brings 0 power 0 form can never be the solution. Okay, so 3 is also rejected. Now x is equal to 5. With 5 there are no issues. If you take 5, this is 2, okay, and this is what, 0. So 5 will mean what, 2 to the power 0, which is of course 1. So 5 satisfied. So there are only two solutions, which are 4 and 5, and their sum is 9. So there are two traps in this question there. One because of denominator, and another trap was what, this 0 power 0 form. And the third trap will be where in the question alpha is equal to -1 possibility is also there, and the student will forget to analyze that possibility. So take care of these 3 points whenever you are solving an equation of the form alpha power beta equal to 1. Now see this question. This is the function given, and question says let in the domain of this function there will be m number of elements, and in the range of this function there will be n number of elements. Then what is the value of m plus n? That's the question. So generally, now here the trap is when students see a question like question involving NCR or NPR. So the way to find the domain is what? N must be a natural number, R must be a whole number, and n value should never be less than R. That means n must be greater than or equal to R. So these are the 3 conditions which have to be applied to get the domain of any function which is in the form of what, NCR or NP are there. Okay, now so the moment a student sees this question, they jump to apply this these conditions there, but wait, okay, take a pause. Why be in so much hurry? Okay, notice something there, x plus 1 here, and in the superscript here, and here it is in this place. Similarly 2x minus 8, 2x minus 8 there. So what it means, write the condition. These conditions are definitely there, but let's first pursue this condition. So x plus 1, this number should be greater than or equal to 2x minus 8, and because of this NCR, this number must be greater than or equal to this lower number. Okay, and 2x minus 8 must be greater than or equal to x plus 1. So what it means, so in this so you want 2x minus 8 to be less than or equal to this number, as well as, and means what, as well as you want it to be greater than or equal to x plus 1. So there is only one possibility, what, 2x minus 8 is equal to x plus 1. This means x is equal to 9. So if you take x is equal to 9, this will become, fx will become 10 c10 into again 10 c10, and you see which satisfies these conditions as well. This upper number and this lower number, they are what, this upper number is natural number and this lower number is also whole number. So these conditions are automatically fulfilled here. So in the domain in the domain there is only one number, x is equal to 9. So what is the domain? Domain set is containing only one number, 9. And what is the range? Range of f. So in the domain there is x is equal to 9. What is the output for x is equal to 9? 10c10 into 10c10, which is 1 into 1, 1. So range is having only one number, which is 1. So number of elements in the domain, 1. And the number of elements in the range also 1. So 1 plus 1, 2. That's your answer. Now in this question and two more questions to follow, you have to tell the type of function, okay? Whether it is 1 1 onto, many 1 onto, 1 1 into, or many 1 into. So look at the function and you have to tell its type. Now as I told you, I will be doing some tricky questions here. So the trick here is, first of all, if this function is many 1, okay, for more than one value of x, you should get the same output. I mean, if function is many 1, the situation must look like this. There should be at least two values of x having the same output. So let's try that, okay? So if you take fx is equal to 1, this implies 3x square plus 4x plus 7, okay? Make it equal to 1. What you will have? This equal to this. 4x square plus 3x plus 6. And if you simplify, you get x square minus x minus 1 is equal to 0. Am I right there? X square minus x minus 1 is equal to 0, which is giving you what? Two values of x, x1 and x2. So there are two numbers, x1 and x2. This equation has got two real roots, let's say x1 and x2, alright, and for which you will have the what? Same output, which is what? 1. So function is immediately many 1. So it could be either second option or fourth option. Let's see, onto or into. Now you see here, this question is testing your knowledge of quadratic, okay, and having the knowledge is not sufficient, okay. Are you able to strike that knowledge straight away to solve this question? That knowledge is ax square plus bx plus c is positive for all x if coefficient of x square is positive and the discriminant is negative. So that is precisely the case with the numerator as well as denominator. If you see numerator, coefficient of x square 3 is positive and discriminant for discriminant is how much? 16 minus 84. Am I right? Which is negative. Don't waste time in calculation. 16 minus 84. For the denominator quadratic also, coefficient of x square is positive and the discriminant once again you can see is negative. So both the quadratics, they are satisfying this condition. So that means the values of both the quadratics are what? Positive for all x. A positive number divided by another positive number is always a positive number. So this implies fx is positive for all x. Fx is positive for what? All x. So that means range of fx doesn't have negative numbers at all. Okay, this means range of fx doesn't have negative numbers at all. Doesn't have negative values. Now you see, what is a codomain? Codomain is R. So codomain is R, which is having both positive values as well as negative values, but the negative values can never be the range because of this output here. Okay, so codomain is obviously not equal to range. So, understood? So codomain is covering all real values, whereas the range is not covering all real values. In fact, range is ignoring all negative values. Okay, so range is not equal to codomain. When this is the case, function is said to be what? Into. So it was already many 1 and now it is into as well. So many 1 into. Fourth option is correct. Now here this is the function f of x is equal to x cube plus 2x square plus 7x minus 5 sin x, defined as r to r. Okay, you have to again identify what type of function this is. Okay, now so the proper method for identifying whether the function is 1, 1 or many 1, I mean most commonly used and you say most powerful method for identifying whether the function is 1, 1 or many 1 is what? Derivative test. So if f dash x is greater than or equal to 0, then fx is strictly increasing. And remember, f dash is equal to 0 is allowed, not in the interval, okay? It has to be 0 at discrete points. Then fx is strictly increasing. See, this is an example of a strictly increasing function, which is always 1, 1. Similarly, a strictly decreasing function will also be always 1, 1. For, okay, if f dash x is found to be less than or equal to 0, then your function is what? Strictly decreasing. In that case also, fx will be 1, 1. On the other hand, if a function has got either a maximum or a minimum, if a function fx has got either a maximum or minimum, then it will always be minimum. See, suppose fx is having a maximum, then you see, if the graph is, if you can cut the graph by horizontal lines in more than 1 point, it is many one function always. The reason is well understood by you already, okay? Let's say these points of intersection are x1 and x2. So what you see, for x1 and x2, you have the same output. For x1 and x2, you have the same output. Suppose this value is k, you have the same output k. And hence the function is many one. So in this question, I am taking help of the derivative. So this fx, let's differentiate 3x squared plus 4x plus 7, and this will give you what? Minus 5 cos x. Now we will play a little trick, because if you don't play that trick, you will see the question and question will see you. So here for this quadratic, a is positive, right? And what about discriminant? 16 minus, yeah, negative. Again discriminant is negative. So this is all positive for what? All x. This is positive for what? All x. But what is the range of this value? This number minus 5 cos x. It can be any value between minus 5 to 5. Okay, this can be any value between minus 5 to 5. Now, you see, this value is positive and this value is between minus 5 to 5. So their combination can be negative as well. So this combination, final value, output could be negative as well, and it can be positive also. So f dash right now looks like is having both kind of possibilities. F dash can be have positive values as well as negative values, okay? Because this is quadratic, no? And it is a positive value here, positive for all x. What is the minimum value? If you find the minimum value of a quadratic is what? Minus d by 4a. If a is positive, minimum value is what? Minus d by 4a. How much is that? Minus of discriminant 16 minus 84 upon 4a, which is 12. And how much is that? 68 by 12. That means 17 by 3. So 17 by 3, am I right? So this is 5 point something. This is what? 5 point something. So a number 5 point something, when you add up with another number which is going from minus 5 to 5. So this value is what? Always positive or not? 5 point something is the minimum value of this. Even if you take the lowest value of it, minus 5, the resultant will be what? Positive only. So we have confirmed that f dash x is positive for what? All x. F dash x is positive for all x. And hence the graph of fx is going to be an increasing function, and hence it will be what? 1, 1. Hence function is going to be what? 1, 1. F is 1, 1. In fact, this value is what? 5.6 to infinite. So a number ranging from 5.6 to infinite and another number minus 5 to 5, they are always going to produce a positive number only there. Okay. So that's why I wrote this complete value. I mean the value of this whole thing is always positive. Okay. That is for all x it is positive. That means your fx is what? Strictly increasing, and when your fx is strictly increasing, your f will be what? Function will be 1, 1. After that, we have to check for onto and into. Okay. Now you see, this is a cubic polynomial. This is a cubic polynomial. And you know, if the domain is R, if a domain is R, range of cubic polynomial, in fact range of, mind this very important point. If range is R, sorry, I repeat, if x values are going from minus infinite to infinite, then range of any odd degree polynomial is always r, minus infinite to infinite. So for x belonging to minus infinite to infinite, the range of any odd degree polynomial is always r, minus infinite to infinite. So this portion ranges from minus infinite to infinite, this portion, quadratic part, and this portion, you know, ranges from minus 5 to 5. So this minus infinite will pull, okay, the final value can pull final value up to minus infinite, and this positive infinite will pull the final values, I mean the values to plus infinity there, okay, because this is the meager values minus 5 to 5 only, okay. So this is continuous, this is also continuous, continuous plus continuous, continuous. So this is a continuous graph, and values can go from minus infinite to infinite. So what is the range? R. So the range of the function is R. And codomain is also R. Codomain is also R. So whenever range and codomain are same sets, okay, the function is what? Onto. So our function is in this case. So for this question, what is our answer? Function was found to be 1 1 and it is onto, 1 1 onto. First option is correct. Now in this function, which is 3 minus 5x plus 12 sine pi x minus 5 cos 2 pi x plus 5 box of x. So this is I have written to mention g. G for what? Greatest integer function, okay. So this function, once again, f is defined from R to R. So you have to identify the type of function, okay. Those options were there: 1 1 onto, 1 1 into, many 1 onto, many 1 into. Okay, let's identify the type of this function. So when you are identifying type of the function, keep an special eye for even and periodic function, because even function and periodic function, if a function is even or it is periodic, so any even function is always many one, always many one. So these type of functions are always many one. Why the even functions are many one? Because f of minus x is equal to f of x. F of minus x is equal to f of x. So for two different inputs, you get the same outputs. Function is many one. Periodic functions, you know, they keep getting the same value after the period, okay. So periodic functions are always many one, even functions are also always many one. So keep an eye on your function, whether it falls in this category or both the categories, okay. What is an example of a function falling in both the categories? Cos x, which is an even function as well as a periodic function. Well, let's focus our attention to this question. So f of x is equal to, now first of all, immediately you should catch this thing, that 5x and 5 box x, they should be combined together. So 3 minus 5, take 5 common, minus 5 common, you will have what? X minus box x. And what follows next is 12 sine theta, which is pi x, and minus 5 cos theta, 2 pi x, okay. Now, so f of x is equal to 3 minus 5 times, and this becomes what? Fractional part of x. This becomes fractional part of x, f for fractional part. And this is without any change, 12 sine pi x minus 5 cos 2 pi x. Now, you know this is a periodic function. What is the period? 1. Sine theta. Sine theta period is what? 2 pi. Cos theta period is also 2 pi. But what is the coefficient of x here? Pi. So, the period of this portion, this function is what? 2. On the other hand, the period of this function is what? Coefficient of x is 2 pi. Remember how to find the period? T upon mod a. Okay. So that period of this part function is what? 1. T3 is equal to 1. So for a combination of several functions, how will you find the final period? As the LCM. So implies t is equal to LCM of t1, t2, t3. What are the numbers? 1 and 2 only. 1 is repeated. So 1, 2, 1. There is nothing but 2. So period of this function is 2. So first of all, even for answering this question, how much is the period? That is not needed. Just this is sufficient to find that function is periodic. So the moment your function is periodic, it is decided it is going to be many one. So your function is of what type? Many one. Let's decide about onto into. Now you see f of x is equal to 3 minus 5 times fractional part of x plus this thing 12 sin pi x minus 5 cos 2 pi x. So you see this number, you know, fractional part of x. What is the range? Close interval 0 to open interval 1. So this can go from minus 5 to 0. This can go from minus 5 to 0. So just wait. So 3 plus this part can go from minus 5 to 0. A number ranging between minus 5 to 0. This number can go between minus 12 to 12. And this number minus 5 cos 2 pi x. You know, cos theta always lies between minus 1 to 1. So this whole value will range between minus 5 to 5 only. So you see your fx is made up of these components whose individual ranges are these. So you see all these ranges are having finite values only 0, 12, 5. So it can never go to infinite. Okay, and at most let's not get into finding the actual range. Okay, so at most what could be the maximum value? 3 plus 0, 3 plus 12, 15 plus 5, 20. So at most this function can be 20. At most this function can take values up to 20. And on the lower side it can take the values minus 17 and minus 22 and minus 19 at least. Okay, on the lower side. So it can't take the values less than minus 19. Alright, so am I right there? Minus 17, minus 22 and minus 19. So you see the maximum value can go up to 20 and minimum value can go up to minus 19. Actual range is not the question. To find the actual range is not the question. So you see the range of this function is not R. This simply means what? Range is not equal to R. Range is not equal to R. What is the codomain? R. This is your codomain. This is your domain. So domain is R, codomain is R, range is not equal to R. So that means range and codomain are the same sets? No. Range is different from codomain. So whenever range is equal to codomain, function is onto, which is not the case right now. So function is what? Into. Range is not R, which is codomain. So range is not equal to R. R is what? Codomain. Range is not equal to codomain. Function is into. So many one into. That is the type of the function here. Many one into. Now in this question, you have to find the domain of the function. I have taken up this question because of some traps involved in this question, okay, to make you aware. So first of all, you see, you should always go with the simplest component of the function, okay, whenever you are finding the domain. Because to find the domain, what will you do? Let's say the domain of this part is D1, domain of this part is D2, and domain of this part is D3. So finally the domain will be found as what? Intersection of D1, D2 and D3. And you see, when you are dealing with three sets, okay, the intersection This is the intersection of those three. So intersection is always lesser than the smallest set. Is it or not? Intersection of three sets is always lesser than the smallest set. At most it can be equal. For example, in this case, say this is A, this is B. So in this case, what is A intersection B? B only, which is the smallest set or smaller set here. Okay. So that's why you should always first hit that part of the function, okay, whose domain you expect to be the smallest set. Okay, whose domain you expect to be the smallest set. Let's begin. So obviously this is quite bulky. This looks better and this looks also better. So let's first work out D2 and D3. So D2 implies, so for D2, this quantity inside the square root, must be what? Greater than or equal to 0. Now, if you simplify this, it becomes 2x square minus 7x plus 5 less than or equal to 0. You can do the factorization. In fact, x is equal to 1 will give you 0. So x minus 1 is a factor, and 2x minus 5, that is also a factor, less than or equal to 0. So this implies x lies in the closed interval 1, 5 by 2. D3. For D3, there are even simpler requirements. So for D3, first requirement is because of ln. Okay, ln base is e, so that is positive and not equal to 1. So you need only this one thing, that bracket value must be positive. Okay, so that this number is positive and you can take its log. 7 by 2 minus x must be positive. So x is less than 7 by 2. But that is not sufficient. First trap. You should not forget the denominator must not be 0. You should not forget that you can't afford denominator to be 0. So when will this denominator be 0? Ln of 1. Ln of 1 will make it 0. So that means 7 by 2 minus x. 7 by 2 minus x must not be equal to 1. That means x must not be equal to what? 5 by 2. X must not be equal to 5 by 2. So this third component of the function has two requirements. One is x must be less than 7 by 2, and another thing, because denominator can't be 0, so x can't be equal to 5 by 2. So this one for D2 and this is for D3. So let's first find the intersection of D2 and D3. D2 and D3 is equal to, this says x is less than 7 by 2. All these values are less than 7 by 2. So what is the intersection of these two intervals? Intersection of these two intervals is 1 to 5 by 2 only. 1 to 5 by 2 only. But this condition is also there. X is not equal to 5 by 2. So this closed interval 5 by 2. We can't take x is equal to 5 by 2. That's the meaning. So closed interval will become open because we don't have to take 5 by 2. But wait, this is not the final domain. This is just the intersection of D2 and D3, and we have to involve D1 as well. So if you now concentrate on this first component of the function to find D1, now this is fractional part, this is another fractional part, so there are two fractional parts, and this is greatest integer. So where this is your fractional part and this square bracket is your greatest integer function. This square bracket is your greatest integer function. Then only there will remain some punch in the question. Otherwise, it will be a dead question. Okay, if these brackets are normal brackets. So you see, fractional part of x is always a number between 0 to 1. Is always a number between 0 to 1. Now, so you can take, after that you have to take ln of that. So you can take ln of all these numbers except 0. All these numbers are positive, but you can't take ln of 0. So fractional part must not be equal to 0. Understood? So because of this ln, I hope you are following. So because of this ln, fractional part of x value can't be 0, because the moment fractional part of x is 0, you will see ln of 0, which is not defined. Okay, So fractional part values must not be 0. Fractional part value not equal to 0. And that means what? X is not integer. You know, fractional part of x is 0 whenever x is integer. So x must not be integer. So because of this requirement, x is not integer. You should remove. So you see intersection. So in the intersection, you can't have such numbers which are integer. Okay. So this is already the intersection up to these two. Okay. So this means remove all the integers from this domain. Okay. This intersection. So it will become what? Open interval 1 up to 5 by 2. Up to 5 by 2. But there is one more integer in between, that is what? 2. Okay. So you can say minus 2, which can be rewritten as 1 comma 2, 2 open interval 1 comma 2 2 union 2 comma 5 by 2. Now let's see, will everything now fall in place with these requirements? So fractional part of x is not 0. So you will have ln of numbers between 0 to 1 now, open interval 0 to 1. Now whatever be those numbers, whatever be the log value, you are further taking fractional part of it. So that fractional part value, whatever be that fractional part value, that can always be between 0 to 1 only. And for any number between 0 to 1, now you are taking its box. You are taking its box. Got that? This last fractional part value will go up to, will range between 0 to 1. And if you find its fractional part of any, if you find box of it, okay, so if you find box of any number between 0 to 1, fractional part can go only between 0 to 1, okay, so if you find box of that, that will become what? 0. So this box value will become 0, and 0 into whatever is this is 0. So you will be effectively finding square root of 0, which is well defined, 0 only, okay. So that means for all these numbers x, this component of the function also doesn't have any problem there, okay. So this is going to be the final domain of our function, open interval 1 comma 2 union 2 comma 5 by 2. So this was all in today's session, okay. If you like the video, hit the like button and let me know your opinion in the comment section, okay, to get the so that I can get motivation to prepare more such videos. And don't forget to share and subscribe my channel Sunil Purwal, okay. Spread the word to all the students